When I was in high school, my brother-in-law owned the St. Augustine Badcock store. He kept telling me what a great opportunity Badcock was. So when I graduated from high school, I moved to St. Augustine and went to work with my brother-in-law. Probably about 6 months into the process, I realized what an awesome opportunity it was. In 1969, I moved back to Winter Haven. When I saw what owning a store was like, I went to work at the Badcock Corporation. Nancy's all the time telling me how blessed I am to have all these experiences with Mr. Badcock Sr. and Mr. Badcock Jr. and all the Badcock and the Pugh family down through the years. Mr. Badcock Sr. taught me how to use orange blossom cleaner, which we used a lot in that day to clean up repos. He taught me how to tag furniture. He taught me how to display furniture. He even taught me how to sweep. One day he was coming in, man, I was catching it with that broom, going a little faster, and he says, "Son, all this stuff I've taught you, and you don't even know how to sweep. Keep that broom down low so it doesn't throw dust up on the furniture, So I've got a lot of really cool memories from Mr. Badcock Sr. One day it was just unbelievable. I was at the company gas station pumping gas in my company Ford station wagon, and out of the corner of my eye I see this white Thunderbird pull up, and I knew it was Mr. Badcock Jr. So, man, I grabbed that gas handle and I start pumping that gas as fast as I can because I want him to think, I'm onto it and I'm getting ready to go to work even faster. And he walked up to me and he said, "Chuck," he said, "I understand you want to buy that Winter Haven store." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Well, why would you want to buy that store?" And I'm trying to think of something really neat to tell him, that sounds like I'm on top of my game. And I said, "Well, Mr. Badcock, I'm from that area, I know the lay of the land, so to speak, and I'm just sure I could do good." And he said, "Well, that store's never done a whole lot." And I said, I can make it do good, Mr. Badcock." And he said, "Well, you know what, you got it." Winter Haven South was my first store in 1974. I came over here, thinking I knew everything. I walked in, I said, "Man, I don't know what I'm doing at all, and but I quickly learned, and the store was selling about $25,000 or $30,000 a month. Had about a $200,000 accounts receivable, maybe $175,000 to $200,000. So we remodeled the store. We put down green shag carpet because the store had concrete floors, hang down air conditioners, and concrete block walls, and we painted them to make the store look really nice and everything, and we were rocking and rolling. For the first year, man, we were like, sales were going up $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month, Some friends of mine that were dealers, they said, "You want to go on a fishing trip over on the East Coast?" And I said, "Sure, I'd love to go for the weekend." So we're over, going fishing, and that afternoon we come in, and everybody wants to call their stores and see what they did, business-wise for the day, and I was the last guy to call, and the other three guys, their sales were down, and and they were really a little depressed, and our sales were up. And I said, "Whoa, man, that's great." And they said, "How are you doing that?" And I said, "I don't know, man. We're just excited, and we're doing it." So, "Don't you know there's a recession going on?" I said, "Well, what's a recession?" I had no idea what a recession was. So, it was all attitude. We were cranking it up, and like I said, we had a lot of room for improvement. So we continued to build the accounts receivable and sales, and the collections went along with it,
Chuck had the Eagle Lake store, and soon after the Eagle Lake store, several years later, he started buying other stores. He was able to recognize talent, bring them into the operation, and now those are dealers.
Several of my friends in the early days wanted to be involved, and so I contacted the corporation, told them they were good guys, and and so they saw they had the opportunity to look at stores that were becoming available. We coached them. We actually went to the stores with them and showed them how to merchandise the merchandise, how to merchandise the appearance of the building, and how to merchandise their people. The opportunities are endless. I mean, because Badcock's got so many advantages over the competition, you just can't believe it. It's got national buying power, and you have hometown service for your customers. You become a part of the community. But the most important thing, I think, is it's a great company for your family to be involved with. And so my wife Nancy and I have run the store together all these years. Our kids would come down when they were first born, and they would be at the store, because we couldn't afford a babysitter. And then they would come after school, and it just afforded us to do things with our family, time-wise and money-wise. And I'm fortunate enough to have a daughter and a son-in-law that are excited about the business.
His kids and son-in-law are really great people, just like Chuck and Nancy. He thinks he feeds off their enthusiasm. I think they feed off his enthusiasm, so it's a symbiotic relationship.
You know, I get the awards, but they do all the work, and they're the support cast right now. Jason and Chance and Courtney, they run our companies, our stores, better than I ever thought about running them.
Chuck is one of those rare individuals that always seeks to see how you're doing. He's always interested in what's going on in your life. In fact, when I called him to let him know we were going to recognize him for the Lifetime Achievement Award, the first words out of his mouth were, "Mitchell, surely there's someone more deserving than me." He has a level of humility that is admirable. We are so blessed and thankful to have him as a part of this organization.
When we developed the award, it was for people like Chuck. Chuck was one of those people that came to our minds when we were thinking about developing this Lifetime Achievement Award.
Chuck was always competitive with you. It didn't make any difference what size store, what town, whatever. He was always wanting to know what your numbers were because he knew what his numbers were, and he was always wanting to beat your numbers no matter what they were.
We started doing a top 10, and I noticed that the top 10 was based on volume. And I noticed that frequently Chuck was up there in the top 10 in volume, and so I'd send him a note now and then. I'd say, "I saw you had a store in the top 10. And then I noticed that he's got 2 stores in the top 10, so I'd send him a note, and then it's 3 stores in the top 10. And then he even hit 4 stores in the top 10. So, it just finally stopped sending him emails. But I think if he had 10 stores, he'd probably have all 10 of them in the top 10.
He's a businessman, as well as his wife, Nancy. A great business relationship between the two of them. Just entrepreneurs, and embrace the Badcock dealer concept. And if you look under the dictionary under Badcock dealer, you'd see a picture of Chuck Young.
He is such a good person at developing talent, finding people, encouraging them to get into the business, and he's just a great businessman, and he's blessed to have a great wife in Nancy, and what a great team they've made over this same 40 plus years.
Every time I go to his store, you see him on the floor talking with his customers. We call his store Winter Haven South. The store is actually situated in Eagle Lake. There may be a mayor of Eagle Lake, but the unofficial mayor is Chuck Young. And again, we're so blessed to have him and thankful for his contributions.
Congratulate you on your lifetime achievement. You've done great things for this company, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And most of all, for getting me in the business and helping me achieve my life goals. It's all due to you, Uncle Chuck, and I appreciate every bit of it.
He's a great uncle and he's a great businessman. I learned a lot from him and made a career out of it. It's been really good, and I love my Uncle Chuck.
People say, "Why do you go in there every day for?" I said, "Well, first of all, I just love the smell of a furniture store. I've got to be in there every day. It starts my day out right. It's just part of your life for so long. I don't know what I'd do without it."